But later on, when we get into some of the more complex diagrams, you're not going to be able to see enough in there. And I would always, if you have to decide, well, do I make the diagram bigger or the type smaller, or, you know what I mean? Make the diagram bigger, you know. So that would be the one thing. But yeah, I mean, so this, yeah, that would be my only comment is, you know, you let each of these be their own page if need be. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to have a thicker book, but it's going to be more useful to you down the road. Now, there are some things like, okay, a cone of vision diagram, something like this can be nice and small. You don't have to have that big. But when you get into things where you're showing like the geometry here, that's a little bit on the small side. Yeah?
What software was used to put
That's-
this together? Oh, I used InDesign.
InDesign? Okay. You know, it really, the type of software doesn't matter so much as something that's easier for you to use. You know, whatever is easier for you to use is the software you should be using to do this. Okay, see, like that's real nice. The only thing I might say, just because you know it's easy enough to do digitally, is don't be shy, you guys, about using color where it's going to be helpful. You know what I mean? And try to be consistent about it so that, like, if you when I did my diagrams for my notebook, what I would do is I would always draw like given information in black, and then if it was something like I moved something to a new location or I drew a second box, I would draw that one in red or something like that, just so I knew, oh, this is the first one, that's the one, that's the effect. Yeah.
So can you fix that stuff in Photoshop? Because that was by hand, and then I scanned it in and it was in color, but then something went wrong where it came out.
All of a
The
sudden.
one in red.
Yeah. Okay.
But you could be fixed in.
You could, but I would try to figure out what went wrong with the printing process first. You know, but and you guys, so this is exactly why we're doing this now, so that okay, yeah, you don't want to find out that none of the color prints when you go to print your final notebook. You know what I mean? Like this is exactly the kind of thing. Okay, now one thing though, this is incorrect. Do you know it's incorrect?
Oh, because now it's with the 45 degree angle.
Yeah, it's got to be a true 45, and that's going to change everything. So, so you guys have to make sure if your diagrams are in there and they're all beautifully drawn and beautifully incorrectly drawn, they will get dinged. Okay, but yeah, pretty good. Excellent. That's exactly what I want. Well, this isn't quite right, but anyway, you guys get the idea though. This is exactly the kind of thing that I'm going to be looking for in your notebooks. Now, I'm not sure what this is about.
I think he has an insert and everything, but like he had every note.
Okay.
It's a diagram.
Okay.
I think he's gonna put the note in like.
All right. Well, he better. But yeah, like the quality of the notes there is fine.
I wrote the comment.
Okay. Yeah, fix the cube. Yeah, so you guys, I'd be careful working this small. You know, use multiple pages instead. At some points in the semester, you're going to be really glad you've got more space. Okay. Nice, very nice. You know, simple, to the point. It doesn't. You guys, these things don't have to be crazy fancy. They just have to have the information, and the information has to be right. But do you see how much more room this gives you visually? I would really encourage that. These are really well done. Okay. Sean, I would use a brush tool that is going to give you a cleaner line, because
Okay.
those lines are going to get way messy,
Okay.
way fast. So use a knife. Like you guys, that's the kind of cleanliness you want.
Okay.
You know. Even something like this, like, okay, this is a very minor criticism, but just because it came up with some of the other stuff. When you guys are doing your drawings, try to make a distinction between object lines that are really important, like say the edge of a cube, and guidelines, which is like, say, a line going to a reference point. Try to keep those lines very light and almost barely there, because you don't want to confuse this line. This line right here is heavier than this line, and you should invert that. As far as the information, it's fine. Yeah, this is good. Excellent. Excellent. Look at okay, so these are hand-drawn diagrams, but look at how nicely done they are. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. So nice job, Katrina. Nisha. Oh, so you guys, I need to tell you one thing. I mean this in the nicest way. You guys are horrible designers, but that's okay. I don't need you to be a great designer. I just need you to have the stuff on the page, okay? So there are things I would say about this design-wise, and I would have said about many of the other ones too, not just Nisha's. So there's kind of weird ways that you're using space and things like that, and you'll get better about that. But I don't really care, and I'm not going to grade you down on it as long as it's still clear and correct and complete and all that. Now the thing is, the fact that this diagram is not correct, that I'm going to care a lot more about. So make sure your diagrams are correct. Yeah, so there's things. The correctness of the diagram is far more important than any of the graphic design stuff. Is this your favorite? Quan's using little Post-it notes now, but so this is the number one. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, I would make the diagrams a little bit bigger. Watch the line weights. It is very good though. Watch the spelling. Spelling drives me crazy, even though it's not. I'm still not going to really. Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's things you could do. I expect you to spell perspective right, though.
I didn't spell check.
Okay. Oh, and actually,
There's no spell check
let me
before
say
it's not.
let me say something about that, you guys. In this day and age, if you misspell. Yeah, if you misspell there versus there, or you have the occasional spelling error, okay, I'll kind of buy it. But in this day and age, when you're working digitally, there's no excuse. It's called, if you don't have the correct spelling, it's probably lazy. And if not laziness on your part, it's you didn't have someone look at it. If English isn't your first language, that's still not an excuse. Because frankly, usually it's not this is horrible, but usually it's not the second language students who have the problem. They're usually much more conscientious about it. It's usually the native speakers that have, actually, I can't remember what they are right now, but last semester, hang on, let me see if I can find it real fast.
I think you were the most common mistake.
So you guys, one of the things that I do is I actually, I've started taking notes as to, some of the spelling errors that people make because they're so damn funny. So last year's misspellings in the notebooks that I loved were, oh no, this is from 2 semesters ago. They meant to say fluency, and they said fluency. And I thought that's like someone who's insanely fluent. Oh, this one was great. Contrasity. Man gauge. Atmospheric. At most it's spherical. And then categories. Highlightus. A disease where you have too many highlights, we just said. And darkiness. I like the darkiness, you know, okay, you need more contrastivity and darkiness here. You know, so I will make fun of you mercilessly if you have spelling errors like that. You know, those are from last semester. But I love those ones, Atmos Spirit.
It's okay if they're like for comical effect, right? Like as a title or a pun or something.
Yeah, if you're making, I don't care if you have fun with it and all that kind of stuff, just make it really obvious. Because, yeah, so you guys, and like on this kind of thing, try and use different line weights on it, it'll make your diagrams look more clear. But yeah, this one looks good. And it looks, you know, okay, like that kind of stuff, that's really, now this is unnecessary, but it's very nice. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is the kind of stuff I'd say, this is up to you. You know, if you want to include extra stuff like that, more power to you. It doesn't have to be there for me, but if you want to add it, it makes your thing look really nice. I care much more about this stuff and just that it be accurate. Yeah.
Should take a look at the middle column.
Oh, I will. Yeah. Question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so, okay, if you have, like, from the ones you just went through, if you have, your notes going or lengthwise, do you want it to stay consistent that way?
That's a good idea. From a design standpoint, yeah, that's a good idea. You guys, and just so you know, like, those are okay. Most of those would be, in my mind, in the B+ range. You know what I mean? Now, assume there might be like, assuming if they fixed them up, I could easily see those becoming A- or A notebooks. You know, if they make the corrections that I would expect after today. Right now, those would be in the B+ range in my mind. Okay. So now we're going to look at the mid. Now, what did you have to say about the middle pile, Quan?
They're pretty good about 65 to 85.
Okay.
No one lower than that.
Okay, so, yeah, like, okay, that's fine, See, now, like, yeah, these look just, I mean, you know, obviously do it, do it a little more correctly than that. That's a beautiful diagram. But you need to spell reference correctly. Anyway, so you just, like, yeah, those are beautiful drawings. I mean, those are beautiful things to have in there.
You did it wrong, Steph.
Yeah, so you guys, you have to make sure the information is correct. If the information isn't correct, if you want to have the line levitates, in case you guys can't tell, I have, like, I don't know why, but I pick up spelling errors, I can't not see them. They kind of pop out at me. Should have been a proofreader. Be careful doing stuff like this with opaque. You may want to make those transparent colors so they read better.
It was transparent, and then when I printed it out, there was something
All of
weird
a
that
sudden?
happened with the color.
Yeah, all of a sudden something weird happened. Perfect. Okay. No, I mean, so a lot of these, a lot of these are fine. Yeah, I mean, those diagrams need to be better and stuff like that, but. You guys, I don't think I'm gonna go through all of these. Most of these, you guys get the idea. Most of you seem to be doing okay. Again, like, that's perfectly fine. Just watch maybe your line weights. Make more of a distinction between, say, lines like this and lines like these, if you can. Yeah, so make sure you do these things correctly. Yeah, see, like, okay, you guys, like, that's a perfectly fine page. I have no problem at all with that. Be careful with some of these things. Not that it's a big deal in the beginning because you guys don't necessarily know about it, but watch your cone of vision also when you're doing things like this, because if you're drawing things and they get out of the cone of vision, even if you draw them right, they look wrong. Okay, now I want you to see this. Do you guys see how confusing that is? That's the kind of thing I want you to avoid. Now, at first it's okay, but that's that's the kind of thing that, and this is a simple diagram. When we get to the complex ones, if you're having those same issues with complexity and how you're handling it, your notebook will be unusable, really. And that's what I want to avoid. Now this is the last pile. So I would say watch things like distracting backgrounds. I would not do this. This is going to get way distracting. Keep it simple, you guys. And again, watch your line weights. That starts off okay, but then it isn't finished correctly. So make sure the stuff is correct. These are way too small. You need to change the scale on those. I don't know what was going on there. This kind of thing might get confusing. And again, line weights and correctness. You guys, if you guys have something like this and it's not the correct angle, you're going to get crucified on your grade. Okay? If I see incorrect angles like that. This kind of stuff, it's okay, it's a little distracting. I would, again, keep it simple and don't spell reference correctly. And fix the diagram. Maybe make it all the right side up. Spell measuring correctly. See, I even see them when they're upside down. Okay. Anyway, I think you guys get the idea. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to put these here, and you can grab your copy during the break.